season, so I am going to share with you some really amazing soup recipes. The first one I'm making tonight for dinner, really quick, easy, simple, delicious recipes I think you're going to love. The first one I'm throwing together is a chicken curry soup. It is one that Elise Ellis from Macro Friendly Foods talks about all the time. She says it's her favorite, and it's taking me this long to make it, and I have a feeling it's going to be just as good as she says it is. So Macro Friendly Foods is essentially just like healthier versions of recipes. She comes out with new recipes every month, and it makes meal planning really simple. That's why I love it. I'm just finishing up my mirepoix over here, dicing up my carrots, celery, and onion. That's the base of any good soup. And by healthier, I mean macro friendly. So like high protein, that kind of thing. I just like them because they're family friendly. It's a lot of food, simple to throw together, and a lot of variety. She actually has a soup PDF out. I just subscribe to the monthly meal plan, but I do have a code if you're interested. The link is always below, 10% off the wads if you want to. Hashtag not sponsor. If not, she shares a lot of free recipes on her Instagram. So I'm gonna show you everything you need for this particular soup. Obviously, the star of the show, onions, carrots, celery, half a stick of butter. I have some chicken broth, it's homemade, evaporated milk for this one, some flour to make a roux, curry powder, this is all I have left, I can't even believe it, and then some rice, cooked rice. Day-old cooked rice is the best kind of rice. And earlier today, earlier, like 10 minutes ago, I meal prepped a lot of chicken in that massive cast iron skillet. I have all these chicken thighs, so I'm just gonna cut them up. I season them really simply, salt, pepper, garlic, Italian seasoning, you know, the basics. I'm gonna start off by throwing half a stick of butter in a pot. It's mostly melted, so I'm gonna throw the veggies in here to cook. Should only take a few minutes until they're tender. I am going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this just to season every layer. Just that side alone makes me happy. Nothing beats homemade soup. I feel like I should add bacon. This smells delicious. Does DW make a candle that smells like mirepoix? I got ideas, I'm just saying. It doesn't have to be perfectly tender. I'm going to let the soup kind of cook for, I don't know, 20 minutes. 2 different times, but I am going to add 3/4 of a cup of flour. I'm just gonna mix this together, making a roux with the butter that was in there. This is what's going to thicken this soup up. Once it's golden brown, I'm going to add 2 cans of evaporated milk. I think you're supposed to do this slowly, but like, have we met? And then 2 cans or 4 cups of chicken broth. This is gonna be a hearty soup, and I love hearty soups. I'm also going to add the curry powder here. Oh, that is a sad amount of curry powder, but that's all that I have left, so you work with what you got. It's actually more than what her recipe calls for, but that's fine. I'm also going to add some salt here too. I'm gonna bring this to a boil and then simmer it for about 15 minutes. Okay, well listen here, because I'm just so crazy, I'm just the craziest, guys. I have this yellow Thai curry paste in my pantry, and I have to season things with more, so I'm gonna throw some of this in too. Yeah. Okay, nice and bubbly. Only a couple things left to do. I have a bunch of cubed chicken cut up. I cut it up pretty small because I don't want like a big honking cube of chicken falling out of my mouth. I'm throwing that in. And I also have a couple cups of cooked rice, a couple packed cups. All right, gonna make it nice and hearty. Who doesn't want a hearty soup when it's like 50 degrees outside? I know some of you are laughing. It's like -20. Even better. That's what makes this even better. Oh my gosh, you think that's it, but really I'm gonna let it sit and simmer for like 10 more minutes. It's worth the wait. Set the table, get your water ready, do your dishes. I'm gonna take a little taste test. The curry flavor is so subtle, but so delicious. It's there, it's prominent, but not like punch you in the face like mine normally is, because I normally add half a bottle of curry. That's where it's at. Alex, you wanna try this soup? I'm not even done with it, but it's so thick and creamy and dreamy. Oh my gosh, you guys. The color, you can't really tell what it is. Let me move the pot. It's hot. It's even more vibrant in person. Oh my gosh. Somebody get me a bowl. This is incredible. It's incredible. There, that's more like the color. Oh my word, this chicken curry soup. You need to try it. Don't wait. Put it on your meal plan right now. So I'll give you a rundown of carbs, fat, protein for each one. Carbs, it's 42, 10 fat, almost 31 grams of protein per serving in a soup. Come on. This is more than delicious. if I had to rank this on a scale 1 to 10, I'd give it a 12. Different day, different soup, but still gotta make dinner. I'm working on my mise en place, my mirepoix, if you will, of veggies, carrots, celery, onion, a few more ingredients, I'll share them with you. But today, oh crud, I'm supposed to shred these. All right. You know, I've been eyeballing that shredder. You know what I'm talking about, that one. I don't know where my shredder is. Maybe here. Got it. You'll never guess where it was. Last place I looked today for dinner, if I keep my fingers on, cheeseburger soup. Seems weird, I'm just saying. Starts out with some shredded carrots. I actually have to dirty this twice anyway because I have to shred the cheese. Look at me, shredding my own cheese on my homestead. Apparently this is a highly requested recipe, highly requested soup recipe, if you will. I have never one time in my life thought, you know what would be great? Cheeseburger and soup in the same bowl. I guess I'm just not a huge cheeseburger fan or hamburger in general. But here we go making it because I'm not the only one who eats here. Pretty simple ingredients. Got 2 cups. I'm done. So beyond the carrots, celery, onion, I also have some Italian seasoning. It calls for some other stuff, I don't know. I feel like this is an all-in-one kind of thing. Flour to thicken things up, beef broth, but I have this better than bouillon I bought about 4 years ago. It's still good, right? Some butter, cheese, shredded cheese, cheddar cheese, if you will. These I bought yesterday, some potatoes, russet potatoes, nice and starchy to thicken the soup up even more. And then some Greek yogurt. And the star of the show is this ground beef that I have cooking in a large pot. I don't even know if this is the first step. I should have looked. Probably should have put all the vegetables in together with the beef. That's what I like to do. Okay, well, little oversight. It also calls for garlic. Okay. I have celery. I'm gonna leave the leaves on. If you don't like the crunch of celery or just having like something to bite, because once you cook it, it's not gonna be crunchy, but it is going to be a texture in the soup. If you're not into that, what you could do is get celery seed. That was one of my friend's secret ingredients to her chicken noodle soup growing up. Gives you the taste without, I don't know, the fuss of actually having to cut celery. I need 1 cup of this, so I'm just gonna dice it up pretty finely. The veggies should cook up pretty quickly since they're all pretty small. I also wasn't gonna try this recipe, but after seeing the reviews, they're all pretty good. So I'm just gonna dice up the onion. All right, looking good. I've never seen a cheeseburger with this many veggies in there, but I'm gonna throw the veggies in as the ground beef cooks. And I just have a couple pounds of ground beef. Approximately 1.10 pounds. Whoop, I'm gonna take this out. And I like to season every layer just with a little bit of salt and then some pepper. While that's cooking behind me, I am going to peel and dice my russet potatoes. I think I'll be able to get 4 cups just out of these 2 really large potatoes. I just Googled and apparently I can feed the potato skins to my chickens. I just have to cook them. I guess they prefer them when they're cooked. I might be able to get 4 cups just from 1 dang potato. I'm doing pretty small pieces, mostly because it's soup. So that's about the size. I mean, basically perfect knife cuts happening over here. Making Julia Child proud. Somebody call the Food Network, will ya? Check these skills out. Bobby Flay who. Really close to 4 cups with just that 1 potato. But you ready, buddy? I always love watching people shred cheese, so I thought I'd leave this in here. Super fast speed, if you enjoy it as much as I do. And a little treat for the babe. Then I'm gonna throw in the diced potatoes. And then 3 cups of beef broth. And by broth, I mean I have water and then just some better than bouillon. Not sure what makes this better other than marketing. Maybe less sodium, I don't know. I'm gonna throw in a tablespoon of that. In my opinion, I would do 4 cups. I'm just saying, it is a soup, right? That's good. Add a little more since I added more. I just like more flavor in general. All right, things are looking up. You know, I'm actually going to add even more just so the potatoes are covered when it comes to a boil, which I'm going to cover, and then simmer for 25 minutes. I melted 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of flour and whisk this together. Didn't take into account the extra liquids I was going to be adding when I added all that extra water, but It'll be fine. Cook this roux until it's nice and golden brown. Whisk in 1.5 cups of milk. Cold milk, hot roux means no lumps. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this. This thickened up and it's nice and bubbly, so I'm going to add 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt and 1.5 cups of the shredded cheese. This is done simmering, I guess. I think it has a couple of minutes, but we're just ready to eat. I'm gonna throw the cheese sauce in here. I'm just gonna mix this in, and this is what makes it nice and creamy. Okay, rundown on this is 20 carb, 19 fat, and nearly 40 grams of protein. Oh, in a soup. This was so hearty. I think this was a family favorite. They all loved it. It wasn't my favorite just because I told you in the beginning, I'm not a huge fan of like burgers in general. It was good. I would eat it again. It was delightful as I was eating it. But, you know, rating it on a scale of all of the other soups that I made, not my favorite. But it is extremely, I don't want that to deter you from making it because it was a family favorite. So let me emphasize that. Tonight I'm gonna throw together creamy chicken lasagna soup. So this one has a few different ingredients. So if you're not into the usual suspects of carrots, onions, celery as the base of a soup, I'm pretty sure this one's for you. It calls for mushrooms, onion, garlic, and spinach. A few other ingredients. This one has been on my meal plan for quite some time. I'm just dicing up some mushrooms. It's actually a crock pot recipe. I'm making it on the stovetop. I always do things a little differently, depending on what my schedule looks like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need a crock pot meal today. I mean, I guess I could have, but I didn't. I'm also using shredded chicken that I cooked previously, but you can follow the recipe if you have macro-friendly foods, or if you go to Elise Ellis's Instagram, or you can just cook the chicken first, or do the slow cooker meal. There are so many options. So let me show you all the ingredients I have. Ignore the pretzels in the back, but my gosh, are they fantastic. This is what we're working with. I'm trying to block them out. It's not working very well. So it's a like lasagna soup. So you can use lasagna noodles, but I just think it's like hard to bite. And actually, I saw on Amazon, they have little itty bitty baby looking lasagna noodles. Almost got them, but it's like $8, so that was a no for me. They also sell them at Trader Joe's for $2, but I haven't seen them in stock and I don't go to Trader Joe's often. So short story long, I got these pastas and I think they're gonna be really fun in there. You also need a little bit of butter, onion, garlic, mushrooms I'm dicing up. I have Italian seasoning back here, some yogurt. That's what bumps up the protein a little bit, makes it a little bit healthier. I have Parmesan cheese I'm gonna shred, some mozzarella cheese, salt and pepper in there, some chicken broth, spinach, and then this is the chicken I'm going to use, a couple pounds of that. I had it in my freezer. So first things first, I'm just going to dice up the mushrooms, and I'm going to dice up 1 onion. I'm going to melt in a couple tablespoons of butter here. I'm kind of redirecting the recipe, and I think this is gonna be the best way to do it. I'm also gonna throw the onions in too. Ooh, listen to that sizzle. The onions take a little bit more time to cook than the mushrooms. So I'm gonna get these cooking first with just a little bit of salt and pepper. In the meantime, I'm going to mince up these hunky cloves of garlic. Look how good those look. I had the heat up a little too high for these poor onions. What did they ever do to me? I'm going to throw in the mushrooms. Thankfully, these cook up pretty fast. A little bit of salt and pepper for them too. If you think you don't like mushrooms, try again. Next, I'm gonna throw the garlic in here. I've got about a 1/4 cup there. I only like the mushrooms cooked for, I don't know, 45 seconds, if that. That out for a minute. That is looking fantastic. Equal parts fat and flour is how you make a roux. So I'm gonna throw in a couple tablespoons of flour. Mix that together, a little more. I'm going to add 4 cups of chicken broth, and I think I might add even more than this. I just filled this up with tap water. I'm going to add a couple more cups of this, and then I have this Better Than bouillon that's been in my fridge. I'm just gonna throw that in, along with some Italian seasoning. I mean, you can do like parsley and thyme and all that good stuff, but this has it all. I feel like I should have seasoned the vegetables with that. It would stick a little better. You live and you learn, Alanis Morissette style. While this is coming to a simmer, I'm going to add in the noodles. I'll do like half a package. See where that gets me? Okay. Next time I'll know to double this recipe. I'm gonna throw the chicken in with it. This is still kind of frozen, but that's okay. I feel like I should have cut these pieces up a little more. Oh, you know what I can do? I couldn't tell you how many kitchen shears I own. Can't find any of them ever. So I'm just gonna give them a little chippity chop. And then I'm gonna bring this to a boil and just let it simmer for about 15 minutes until the pasta is cooked. I've been trying to shred my own cheeses, so I have some, I don't know if this is any better because clearly this isn't fresh mozzarella cheese, but the recipe calls for a cup of mozzarella. It's so unsafe. I got my knuckles, but that just means it's made with blood. I'm in love. And then it calls for half a cup of Parmesan cheese. All right, I think I went a little overboard there. Also 4 cups of spinach. So I'm just going to go through this with just a gentle pass with my knife. I just don't want massive amounts of spinach. Although this will wilt down pretty much to nothing. Noodles are al dente, so I'm gonna throw the spinach in and the cheeses. Let everything melt. And I almost forgot to add a cup of yogurt to this. So it's gonna make it nice and creamy and dreamy. Just give this a mix, incorporate all of those flavors. The spinach is gonna wilt really quickly, basically as soon as it hits that hot water. Oh my goodness. This is incredible. So dang good. Can't wait to dive in. I'm not sure I've ever had a hearty soup like this before. This is like, oh my gosh, bursting with flavor and more of like, let me eat, you know? So far, if you haven't noticed, all of these soups are more on the hearty side, which is great because, you know, they're gonna keep your belly full and keep you satiated. So this one in particular has 30 grams of carb, 11 fat, and more than 40 grams of protein per serving. Blows my mind. You guys, a slow cooker creamy chicken lasagna soup tasted like lasagna. It will, oh my gosh, all of the flavors in here, top notch, well done. Can we get a round of applause for Elise? Because this, I mean, deserves it. All of the soups, really. But this one was extra spectacular. Loved all the flavors. My reflection just scared me. All right, you guys, I've entered a new level of fear. Tonight for dinner, I'm going to be making lasagna soup. Check out this onion. Non-GMO, fair trade certified, full organic, just grabbed it from my garden. For a frame of reference, this is about the size that I used yesterday. Like, what is this? It's massive. What kind of human growth hormone are they putting in this? I have never in my life used half of an onion, but today might be the day. Oh my gosh, it smells delightful though, wow. So for lasagna soup, you know, it's been going around like, oh, lasagna soup. I don't know why it's a thing. It is, so I figured I'd take my hand at it. Of course, I found it on macro-friendly foods. Man, this onion is like comical. So I went to Whole Paycheck today and I did end up grabbing some fancy noodles that kind of look more like lasagna noodles than what I used yesterday. They were less at Whole Foods than they were on Amazon, believe it or not. So for this one, you don't need a full mirepoix, just an onion and garlic. Ooh, I feel my eyeballs starting to water. Let me show you everything you're gonna need. So pretty simple, we've got onion, garlic, tomato paste, lots of tomatoes in this lasagna soup, petite diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, chicken broth, Italian seasoning, or you can do like rosemary, oregano, basil, thyme, that kind of thing. Ricotta cheese for the top, Parmesan, mozzarella, the trifecta. I do have some basil. Is this basil? No, this is cilantro. I do have basil, so I'm gonna have to grab that out. Otherwise, let's get this party started. Oh, actually, and you need some meats. I have ground beef and ground sausage. So I'm just going to start by cooking up the meats. You know, it calls for 1 pound of ground beef. I might cook the rest of this and just make tacos. And then it calls for 1 pound of ground sausage. And I just think this adds so much flavor. If you're gonna do one or the other, do the sausage, in my opinion. Before that fully cooks, I am gonna cut this onion, dice it up, and I'm gonna throw it in and let it cook alongside the meats. That is so funny. While that's cooking back there, I'm just going to grab some garlic cloves. I don't even know if I need garlic for this, but how are you gonna eat lasagna without garlic? Okay, yeah, 2 tablespoons of garlic. I just smush the garlic cloves down, and then I'm able to just peel the wrapper off of it. I don't know, the skin. Just smush and peel, and then mince it up. Just teeter it back and forth and keep on going. All right, time to add the garlic. Mix that in until it's fragrant. That should cook for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. And I'm going to add the seasonings here. I don't know, a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, the rest of the container. Ooh, so fragrant. Smells like my dad's fried rice. Awaken those seasonings. I'm going to add the can of diced tomatoes. I do petite dice because I don't like a lot of chunks. And then the crushed tomatoes. And 4 cups of chicken broth. I might add a couple more cups because the recipe says to cook, ooh, what happened? Cook your pasta separate? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna throw my pasta straight in here. Look how fun this shape is. You see that? Isn't that amazing? All right, love that. I'm gonna add just, I don't know, a couple big handfuls in there. Not too much. Mix that in. I'm gonna add a little bit of this. Oh wait, what am I missing? I have some tomato paste. I like to buy it in this tube because I find that many of the recipes that I use only call for like, I don't know, a tablespoon or 2 of tomato paste. And sure, I can get the can and then put the rest in the freezer, but I never use it. It's just so much more convenient to have it in a little squeezy tube like that. I'll keep my eyes on this, and if I need to add more water or chicken stock, I'm gonna do that. But for now, I'm just gonna pop a lid on it and let it cook for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. Again with the cheese, and this time I have my little helper near me, and you can kind of see her hand coming in and out, grabbing some cheese as I'm shredding it. And then, of course, she helped me with the Parmesan cheese. Gotta teach them how to cook young, and they're very eager to help out too. So here's the pasta. And by pasta, I mean soup. The lasagna soup looks so dang good. Oh my gosh, these noodles cooked so fast. I may have slightly overcooked them. That's okay. I shredded up 1 cup of mozzarella cheese, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and into a bowl, I'm going to throw in the cheeses, and then 1/4 cup, I'll leave some to garnish. I mean, I guess we're kind of garnishing with this whole mixture. 1/2 cup of the ricotta cheese, because you can't have lasagna without it. So I'm just gonna mix all of this together, and we're gonna use this for garnish for the topping. Also some parsley. This one was so crazy. You could serve it without like that cheese topping, but adding that ricotta and parmesan, can I say it in my Italian accent? No, I can't. My ancestors are rolling, but the ricotta cheese, I'm so American, and the Parmesan and the mozzarella, it is so dang good. It literally tastes like lasagna. It's wild and crazy. I loved the noodles that I got, but totally not something that you have to do. You could just use any pasta that you have, or if you want the lasagna noodles, just break it up. You know, that's what normal, average, everyday people do. Okay, so here's the rundown. 32 carbs, 17 fat, and 36, almost 36 grams of protein per serving. Hootenanny. There you go. A beautiful dinner if I ever did see one. Different day, different soup. Same pants. I had a night and a half, and the very last thing I want to do apparently is change my pants. So it's raining outside, I'm not going anywhere. I am, however, making the world's best loaded baked potato soup. Who doesn't love potato soup? I mean, me until my adulthood. Pea soup too. Soup in general is just underrated. So this one obviously calls for some russet potatoes. I'm just going to peel up a couple pounds of that. This is, again, from macro-friendly foods because I love it so much. And it has 15 grams of protein per serving. In baked potato soup, it's gonna be great. Already, I can smell all of the flavors of this soup. I just spent way too much time looking for chives because I am going to garnish with some chives. I feel like that's optional, but so is adding bacon, and we're gonna do that. Isn't everything in life optional though? I'll find it, I just have to keep looking. This is everything that you're going to need for the soup except for the chives. So I have a couple of pounds of potatoes. These are massive. I have the rest of the enormous onion that I used yesterday, salt and pepper, some cheddar cheese, chicken broth. I don't have enough of this, but you work with what you have. I'm just gonna add the rest water, and I feel like that's good enough. Flour, milk, Greek yogurt, and in my prep sink over here, it's just so convenient, I do have some bacon thawing out. I still can't find my kitchen shears, but it'll be fine. I'm starting out with some bacon, probably more than the recipe calls for. It's just such a great flavor, the smokiness of this. And I'm just cutting this into bite-sized pieces, especially if the bacon is already thawed out. It's like slimy. So sometimes it can be pretty hard to cut with a knife. So this way's a little easier. I'm starting the bacon in a cold pan, and that's the way that you can render a lot of the fat from the bacon. The smell of this is amazing. I'm just gonna let this cook out. In the meantime, I'm going to cut up the onion. Bacon, onions, and potatoes. It's like one of my favorite trios, along with peppers, onions, and sausage. Oh my gosh. Then I'm gonna take my honkin' potato and dice this up. Once the bacon is nice and crispy, I am going to take it out, but keep as much of the fat down there as possible. This just doesn't seem like enough bacon. I'm gonna throw my onions in here and let them cook in the fat for a couple minutes until they're tender. I am gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper here. Once the onions are nice and translucent, I'm going to add a few tablespoons of flour. Mix this in and let the flour cook out for, I don't know, a minute. Okay, a minute goes by fast when you are distracted by the children. I'm going to add some chicken broth and get all those bits off of the bottom here. That is flavor. Oh, I can't waste an ounce. All that flavor. So I only have 2 cups, and then I'm gonna fill it up and add just 2 cups of water. That's fine. I don't have any poultry seasoning or anything like that, but I do have this everything but the leftovers, and it basically smells like a chicken ramen noodle packet. So I'm just gonna add some of this in here for flavor. I was gonna add herbes de Provence, but that seasoning was a little thick and it was more like an Italian flair. So then I'm gonna add the potatoes in here, bring it up to a boil, and let the potatoes boil for about 20 minutes or until they're fork tender. I'd add a little bit more water just to cover the potatoes. I couldn't find my chives, but I did remember that I planted some in the garden a while ago. So I'm just gonna wash these up and then dice them. I love chives. Anything with that onion flavor, I'm in. That's just for garnishing. The lawn guys always come without fail when the baby is taking a nap. I'm surprised he's still sleeping. I'm actually so grateful he's sleeping because he certainly did not sleep at all last night. So that was really fun. Half a cup of cheddar cheese. I always do a little bit more. And then plus you want more for topping. It's been cooking. The potatoes are nice and tender. I'm just going to get a potato masher. In the past, I've used one of those immersion blenders, but I like a little chunkiness in my soup, so I'm just gonna use a potato masher and do a little bit of mashing. It just thickens up the soup a little bit. I should have got my immersion blender out, but honestly, I'm just too lazy. 1 cup of milk going in, 1 cup of yogurt going in, a little bit of pepper. I would add salt here too, but I feel like those seasonings that I added had a lot of salt in it. So I'm just gonna mix this up. Oh, now it's nice and creamy. This is nice and thick, and I'm going to top it with bacon, chives, cheese. I think that's it. Whatever you want. Oh yes, potato soup is one of my favorite soups. If you haven't tried it, put these all on your meal plan, honestly. I garnished it with cheese, bacon, and chives because you have to, okay? It's a loaded baked potato soup. You obviously don't have to, but that's what I did. It was so delicious. Alex said it was one of his favorite things I've ever made in his entire life. He says that about everything. Can we trust him? I don't know. Okay, here's the rundown. 33 carb, almost 15 fat, and then a little over 15 grams of protein per serving. Can't beat that, especially when it comes to a potato-based soup. So delicious. Listen, potatoes, they're a vegetable, right? Actually, it's a starch. It's whatever. I count it as both. It's delicious. Got the onions, carrots, celery. Pulled this one from my fridge. Not as big as yesterday's. Not as impressive, but that's okay. Today I'm making lemon chicken Orzo soup. This one is like nice and fresh because of the lemon. I hear people talk about it all the time. And I have had Orzo in my pantry for a long time. I think I made something with it. I actually thought I had 2 packages of it. I only found 1. So that's good. The recipe only calls for a little bit of it anyway, so I'll have to make this another time. But that's the catalyst behind this recipe. Let me know if you want another soup what's for dinner video, because I have like 7 more soup recipes that I wanted to make that I didn't. I've shared with you a couple, the bacon bean soup recently, and then the chicken noodle soup, my famous one. So I've shared a few recipes with you, just in, you know, run the house happenings videos. But sometimes I like it when it's all in one place. So I'm just gonna start chopping up my veggies. I have onion, carrots, celery, some lemon juice for that brightness, butter, herb de Provence, just because I'm fancy and I have it in my pantry and I need to use it, but you can use Italian seasoning too. I have some chicken already shredded, diced up. It's just leftover, I'm using it. Otherwise you can just, you know, cook your own whatever. Orzo, this is like a really teeny tiny little pasta. I think it's actually not pasta, or it is pasta. Do some people think it's rice? Wait, what is that one? Am I using the right thing? Yeah, Orzo. Okay, anyway. And then Alex ran out to get me some of this, so nice, the Better Than Bouillon chicken. It's so much more affordable than buying chicken stock, and I haven't had a chance to get around to making my own, so that's okay. I'm just gonna finish chopping up my veggies. All I did was wash them. I don't peel my carrots. I feel like they're organic, it's good enough. Also, well, maybe sometimes I peel them, but who has time all the time? I'm gonna give those to my chickens. And then even for the celery, I like to cut them in half or sometimes even thirds, just to get a thinner dice on the celery. It calls for 2 cups of diced celery. That's good enough. After this week of soups, my chickens are gonna be ready for a different vegetable. I also need to dice up 2 cups of carrots. So I just take a whole carrot and then cut it into little pieces and then dice that up too. I feel like that's the easiest way to get it done. Of course, I feel like those choppers are really popular. You know what I'm talking about. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to chop it like this. Plus, I wouldn't want to waste my cordon bleu skills. I melted half a stick of butter in the pot, and I'm just going to cook up my veggies until they're tender. Always add a little bit of salt and pepper to this, get things moving along. Veggies are almost done. I'm just going to add a little bit of herbes de Provence, just to awaken the seasonings a little bit. It says to add these in the end, but I never follow a recipe. I also have 6 cups of water here, and I'm just going to add in a couple tablespoons of the Better Than Bouillon and just mix it together. And before I add it in, I'm just going to throw in like a 1/4 cup of flour on top of the veggies. Ooh, they smell so good. Get that going. And then I'm gonna pour the chicken stock in here. Kind of get all that delicious flavor off of the bottom of the pan. Okay, that looks great. Now it says to cook this, simmer it for around 10 to 20 minutes before you add the orzo, but I'm just like, why? I'm gonna add it now and then let it cook. This smells really good, like a classic soup, and it's almost done. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon and the chicken, and that's it, I think. I feel like you could garnish with some parsley. It would be really good with some grass. I just, for whatever reason, it just always looks so pretty in the ladle. Right? Oh my heck, I don't even have to fill the bowl. Just that, this is like comfort. This is, are you sick? This is it cold outside? Look at that steam. I don't know if you can see the steam. Magic. This is what magic is made out of. 30 grams of protein, 11 fat, 46 carb, only because of the pasta. You gotta live your life. Rihanna style. I started singing, but I cut that part out. You're welcome. So this lemon chicken orzo soup, delicious. It's just one of those homey soups that makes you feel all warm and cozy inside. It's a classic traditional soup. The lemon, it's not like super lemony, so don't let that deter you from trying it. It just adds a little bit of brightness to the dish. You know what? I didn't even notice it really. It just adds that extra layer of depth of flavor. It is so delicious. Would recommend. I always like to add a dessert in these videos, and when I found this recipe for a dessert soup, I was like, that is perfect. Is it gonna be pudding in a bowl? We're gonna find out. All right, it is milk chocolate soup with cake croutons. If you're wondering what the cake croutons are, it's essentially just pound cake. Maybe we fry it, I don't really know. I haven't read the instructions. I still need to grab some sugar, but I feel like I'm just making pudding from scratch. Do I have a Jell-O chocolate pudding mix in the pantry? Yeah, Should I just make it? Probably. All right, it starts out in a medium pot. It starts off with a 1/4 cup of sugar into a pot and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch with a little bit of salt. Okay, then mix in 3 cups of milk. You're supposed to do this gradually. I'm one-handed. Oh, yummy. Multitasking at its finest. I started cleaning the floors and I saw this starting to boil. Like, why would I leave dairy unattended on the stovetop as it's boiling? So I was whisking it together vigorously, getting all those bottom bits up there, but it ended up turning out really great. Only slightly lumpy, but that's no big deal. Life goes on, right? It came to a boil. Oh, I already opened this. You're supposed to add a little bit of vanilla. Mix that up. I do feel like I am making homemade chocolate pudding. Add 2/3 cup of chocolate chips. Melt that in here. Ooh, that's really nice. And then transfer this to another bowl. And you're supposed to let it sit in the fridge 3 hours. Oh my gosh. Or overnight. I didn't think this through. I'm just gonna take a taste test now. Like, who's gonna stop me? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's hot pudding. That's pretty good. I think I'm gonna serve it just like that. You're supposed to like do more to it, add some more, but I'm not. Where are all of my knives when I need them? I do have this butter loaf, pound cake, if you will. This is honestly the best part. So I'm just going to take this and make some cubes. Couple, oh yeah. If ever there were a time to use a heart-shaped cutting board, now is the time. It's time. Oh my goodness. All right. A couple croutons over here. A little bit of State's finest Hershey's chocolate. Where's my grater? I think it's dirty, so I'm gonna try to use the microplane. Oh my gosh, magic. Here we go, just a little bit of grating. Here we go, I'm trying to get some thicker pieces. Couple of the cubes. Ooh, I should cut these more. It's all about presentation. Listen, no carb countdown for this one. This is not an Elise Ellis meal. So could you make pudding for this? Yeah, sure. But there's something magical about the way that this was made. If you did make pudding, make it a little more on the runny side, add a little extra milk, but this was warm. I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I thought the presentation was delicious, and I don't know what else to say, but like, make it. I really drug my, sorry, I'm like choking. I drug my feet on making this, and I shouldn't have, because it was really, really good and a nice little treat at the end of the day. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out and trying out all these new soup recipes with me. Hope you got some inspiration on what meals to add to your meal plan for this week, this month, whatever. Even if it's just one, I hope this inspired you, because they were all extremely delicious, and I hope you give them a try. Let me know if you do. And I don't know, subscribe if you want to stick around, put a little happy in your day and all that good stuff. I'll see you next time. Bye.